Hi, my name is Bailey. We are hanging out in the CD 92.9 big room with the one, the only, Oli Sykes from Bring Me the Horizon. So we're going to start off with a really hard-hitting question here. How's your day going? What's up? Doing anything exciting?
We're writing music actually today.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been writing music today, so
All right, that's something exciting.
yeah, it's exciting enough. I mean, it's what I do every day, but
I mean, hey, that's not the normal day for the average Joe, you know? Bring Me the Horizon, the name originated from a Pirates of the Caribbean quote. How did that come about? How'd that even come up in discussion?
I jotted it down after watching film. I really liked the sentiment of the lyric, and it comes at the end of the film where Jack Sparrow's like gets on ship and goes off on his adventures and says, "Now bring me that horizon." And for me, I was like 16 or 15 at the time, and all I wanted to do is see the world, and travel.
Oh, cool.
In fact, it's still in one of our songs. It's one of our first songs. Like, let's not change the subject. Let's go chase the sunset. Bring me the horizon. And I think it was Arrested Guys actually like that would make a cool band name, don't you think? And I'm like, yeah, it'd be quite cool. And we had so many terrible band names before that. I was like, thank God that we picked one that's actually got a bit of a ring to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what was the worst band name you came up with?
This evidence in 8x10s.
Oh, okay.
Murder on the dance floor. Quite bad.
All right. Yep, Bring Me the Horizon is significantly better.
Yeah, there's some bad ones.
So you guys have the most genre diversity of any band I've seen, from deathcore to EDM influences. What does that blending process look like, and how have you been able to keep fans on their toes, but also still keep that same fan base?
I don't know if we have, to be honest. I think we've lost and gained and fluctuated a lot through the years. I don't know. It's we've done it so much now that at least I think people aren't surprised by it. Like, I used to love death metal, for instance, but I was like, why is every song sounding exactly the same? Yeah. Like I always thought it was weird. I was like, why can't it be like one song be like this and one song be like that? And we just wanted to do that, explore like other things, you know what I mean, and take inspiration not from rock music but from other places. And it's almost like nostalgic. It's like, oh, like for instance, like dance and drum and bass and stuff were like what I liked when I was like 13 years old. And it's like, oh, it was so cool to incorporate that into our music. And then it's just a process of like experimenting until you can make it work. Do you know what I mean? We tried so many things and so many times. It's like, this doesn't work at all. But like when we find something and it's like, this feels good, then we roll with it.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And that's cool that you're able to take so much influence from so many different things and make it work.
Yeah.
So I want to chat a little bit about your live performances, because you've said previously that performing is therapeutic for you, and Bring Me the Horizon's live shows have played a huge part in you guys' success, from the antics to the energy. So where do you go in your head when you perform?
I'm just trying to think back to the last performance, and it was that we just performed on the Brits with Ed Sheeran, but that was just one song. And like literally we went on stage, we played it and come off stage, and I was like, I didn't feel a second, like I don't know where I was for that whole 3 minutes. It just went like, it just went in an instant, like a blink of an eye, it was done. And I think when you play like a longer, an hour and a half, there's times where you can like come back to the room and come back in your body and stuff. But a lot of the time it's like an out of body experience. You don't know where you are or what you've just done, and you're just on autopilot. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is bizarre. It is a bizarre thing, but that's why it is so cathartic and releasing, because you're so in the moment that you don't even know that you're in the moment.
Wow. I want to talk a little bit about your performance with Ed Sheeran. You did Bad Habits with him. How did that collaboration come about from two very different artists?
He just asked us. We got an email saying like, "Are we crazy? Would you like to, like, we want to rock up this track for the Brits? Like, I know this is a mental idea, but would be interesting?" And we're like, "Yeah, for sure. This, like, we love to do stuff that's gonna, I don't want to say piss off people, but definitely like make people like turn their head and go, what?" Not that I think it sounds like a terrible idea, but it's definitely crazy, and we like to challenge ourselves and do stuff like that. So it was such an easy process. Like the song just converted into a rock song so easily. A good song's a good song. So a crazy experience for us, and doing something on that level, it was a lot of fun.
Ed Sheeran said that without you guys, that song would have sounded like, quote, a wet fart, which I thought was really, I'm like, all right, well, at least now with Bring Me the Horizon, it's like a full fart. I don't know.
It's the full on shot.
Yes, exactly. All right, so you guys started out in 2004 as teens and ultimately became one of the formative bands of the peak scene emo era. What's it like to see that era start to become popular again?
It's interesting, do you know what I mean? We're literally talking about this in another interview. Like, I wouldn't have thought like emo rap would be one of the biggest genres like of 2021.
Yeah.
And this year, but if you like rock music, you don't really care whether it's in fashion or it's big or it's not. It's not important to you. Do you know what I mean? It's, I guess, to some extent, it might be important for our careers or good, but like we love rock music and we'll be here whether it's in fashion or out of fashion or whatever. So, yeah.
Kind of in that same vein, what are your thoughts on being part of the When We Were Young Fest, or as I like to call it, Warped Tour Junior?
Yeah. Take our band out of the equation, and if you showed me that lineup when I was 15 years old, I would just died. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would have had to go. So the fact that we're like now we're playing it and we're like one of the main bands on the bill, and it's just like, it is one of those you got to pinch yourself moments, because like bands like Glassjaw and stuff like that, they're just like, it's the reason I started a band. Glassjaw are the reason I started a band. Do you know what I mean? And it's just the fact that we're playing alongside them, Taking Back Sunday and The Used and just all these, it's just, I'm gonna struggle because we've got to play, but I want to go and see like the whole day. Do you know what I mean? Look, thankfully we're doing it 3 times, so should be able to get around and see everyone. But yeah, it's just unreal. I think it's I mean, and it's obviously it's a testament to like everyone thinking it was like some kind of hoax or not happening. People compare it to Fire Festival and stuff like that, which were just hilarious. Because I was just like, this is just all based on the fact that people are that excited about the lineup. We just think it's too good to be true. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very real. Let's talk a little bit about your single Die For You. And it uses a toxic relationship as an analogy for your fight with addiction, and was also recorded during peak COVID isolation. How did the intense emotions around isolation and also recovery collide to make that track?
Lockdown and the whole thing, like, I guess for 90% of people, it was a time of like massive reflection and a lot of problems. And I think a lot of us were very busy in our lives, so we were like, it's easy to go, all right, I've quit doing this and it's not a problem for me anymore, or those emotions don't come up for me anymore. And you, in your head, you're like, oh, because I'm healed. But really, when you're just like distracted, you might have a 9-to-5 job, you might have kids, you might have whatever going on, where you like, you keep those feelings pushed back because you're so distracted. And that's what happened for me. Like, lockdown came, the band stopped, and all these things that like I thought I'd figured out came straight back, to the forefront, and I just like spiraled out of control and went back into my, did what I did when those problems used to be more at the forefront. I started using again and abusing shit, and so like for me, I had to sort that shit out in lockdown. I couldn't go back into the world in the way I was, so I started getting therapy, and then I flew to Brazil with my wife, and we went and stayed at like basically like an ashram for like a month or 2, basically living like a monk and just trying to like, I know it just sounds mental, but like just trying to like disconnect a bit from my mind and the way everything was. And I was so caught up in like myself and like the band, and like we've been doing the band for 20 years, right? So it's like I was getting all my gratification from the band. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I didn't realize it. Like, I wasn't walking around like super like egotistical and loving myself, but like I was feeding off like how many streams the band were getting, or how big the band was, or what kind of venues we were playing, or what kind of festivals were headlining, or whatever. Like, I was getting all my like love from that source, and obviously we're just so unhealthy. Die For You is all about like this like realization where I'm like, fuck, I need to cut this part of me off and say this is not happening anymore. Like, because it was very murky before that, where I was like, oh, I don't abuse drugs, but like I'll still have a drink and I'll still have a smoke or whatever. And it was just, I was always leaving that door open, and I needed to shut it. Do you know what I mean? So like, Die For You was very like, this song is me, like basically saying no more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's awesome that you're able to draw that hard line in the sand with that track. That's really cool. We are just about out of time, and I want to leave you with one last question. So this is going to be posted online for the world to see, millions of people, or maybe 15. What do you want to say to the world?
I'd say to everyone listening to love themselves, because that's one of the biggest things I've learned about life, is you have to learn how to love yourself. I know that's super cheesy, but like, especially I think a lot of people that listen to our band and are in this world where we're quite depressive people, aren't we? We like self-depreciating, and we look at the darker side of life and stuff, which is amazing, and I think it's great. But I think a lot of the time as well, we think that that's just like the lamest thing ever, to be able to look in the mirror and go, I love myself, I'm like worthy and stuff. But it's just like, until you can get to that point, like it's so hard for you to like love anyone else or be happy. So I would just encourage everyone to get to that stage in their life, feeling emotions that come up and stuff. I don't know. That's how I feel.
I like that. That was very deep. Oli, thank you very much for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure to chat with you. I've been a fan for a very long time, so this is Thank you. A dream come true for like 14-year-old Bailey. So
amazing. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks for watching. Make sure that you always tune in to CD 92.9 FM on your radio dial. Like, subscribe, more content, all coming for you.